What if I told you that the very thing you're afraid of, the thing that intimidates you, the thing that you think you're not good enough to pursue, is actually the thing you need to do? It's why you're here on this earth, if you want to go more meta. I've in fact spent 20 years figuring this out, and you'll learn it now, right here in this video, in the next couple minutes. Please realize, what scares you on this earth, the greatest goals you have, the things that intimidate you, are the very things you actually need to chase. Yes, it's hard. Yes, 99% of people are not going to reach that. Yes, it's intimidating, but I promise you, if you stick with it, you'll have everything you've ever wanted. So I wanted to make this little mindset video here for you because it's such an important lesson that took me 2 decades to figure out. In my very early teenage years, I saw my dad come home every single day, tired and exhausted. He would leave the house when it's dark, he would come home when it's dark, and I would ask my mom, what's his dad doing? And she's like, he's working. And I'm like, well, this sucks, work sucks. And my mom said, this is something that is sticking with me forever. She's like, well, people have to work. Like, this is kind of like what we do. And I asked her, until when? And she said, well, you know, until he's 65, 70. And I'm like, well, that sucks. Like, I'm old, 65, 70. I don't want to do this for the best years of my life. So I figured out pretty early on that I needed to chase bigger goals. But the problem with bigger goals is they're harder to get. That's what people think. And not everybody reaches them. That's why they must be hard to get. And also, they're really fucking intimidating. So what happens with a lot of us as we grow older and more mature, we settle. We settle for something lower, something more achievable, something less intimidating. And that is, next thing we know, we're 30, 40, 50 years old, we're working on a life that doesn't fulfill us 100%. It's safe, sure, it's good enough, sure, but the enemy of perfect is just good enough, and that's 99% of people out there. So I sat there and I thought to myself, okay, can I build a bigger life, a life that is so intimidatingly awesome? What would I need to do? If I allowed myself to dream really, really, really freaking big, what would be the steps that I need to do? But the problem was, and this is a problem that you're experiencing here as well, is the bigger I thought, the more fear and intimidation I felt. And I felt that pull that probably everybody else has felt in their lives towards just doing something that is safe. And in fact, there was one moment in my life that has actually almost gotten me to the level where I would have settled once and for all. Because I wanted to be a musician for as long as I could think. I wanted to travel the world, I wanted to inspire people, I wanted to be up on stage, and I wanted to express myself. So I studied music, I studied musicology, and I started playing guitar, and I was really, really good at it. In fact, I was about to get into the Conservatory of Vienna, and I was practicing every single day for that entrance exam. Until one day I woke up and I had a sharp pain in my left arm. And I went to the doctor and they said I had tendonitis, which is relatively common for people that overtrain, specifically tennis players. It's also very common for musicians, most of them guitarists and pianists. And it basically means if you don't pay attention to this, you could develop a chronic illness, which is that tendonitis, and you can't ever really pursue your dream of becoming a musician. And I went to 5 doctors that afternoon, and they all told me the same thing. They all said, you probably will not become a musician. And that, of course, increased my fear and increased my intimidation of my big goal of ever traveling the world and, you know, making millions and inspiring people. So I was pulled towards safety. We all have this. You might experience this too, that we have a traumatic experience, like maybe we're short on money, maybe someone that we love dies, maybe some experience that makes us feel we're not good enough. And then all of a sudden we're like, you know what? Fuck the big dream. I'm just gonna go for something safe. I just need safety and predictability right now. And that's the very pull I felt. So I said, okay, what's a plan B? What's something that I'm good at nonetheless, but where I don't need my arms, so in case that tendonitis does become a chronic thing, I don't get deprived of my source of income. And that was languages. I was always very good at languages, specifically Latin and added Greek. English isn't my first language, by the way. So I said, okay, well, let me become a teacher. right? A high school teacher, I get decent pay. Well, I get my, whatever, 3,000 euros a month, which is funny. I laugh now because in my opinion, that's horrendous pay. And, you know, I have like 3 months off in the summer. It's decent. It's not what I wanted, but it's a good enough payoff, so to speak, a trade-off. And that's what I went for a long time, until I was lucky enough for fate or the universe or karma to provide me with a second chance. And that second chance was personal development. I've always been a very shy person, never really had, you know, success in my dating life. And as a young 20-year-old, it kind of bugs you if you're not really good with the opposite sex. So I learned a lot. I read a bunch of books about social dynamics. I watched a lot of YouTube videos about social dynamics. And then I was provided with that said second choice, second chance. And that was, hey, you could work for free as an unpaid assistant to one of the biggest dating coaches in the world. I think back then the biggest dating coach in the world. And I was like, okay, well, if I learn from that person, you know, he's traveling the world, he's inspiring people, he's up on stage, he's expressing themselves. That's kind of like everything that I wanted to do as a musician. So I'm like, maybe I could become a coach like this guy and travel the world and do all these things. So I was presented with a second chance, and I did take that chance. I was very, very happy about that. Now here's your lesson. What happened when I realized there's a second chance for me to literally fulfill all my wildest dreams, I was again overwhelmed with another slew of fear and intimidation and what if I'm not good enough? So here's the big important lesson. I changed my relationship to fear. It's not that I got rid of my fear or I got rid of my intimidation. It was just there. It was probably even more there than in most other people. But I changed my relationship to it. And that's a mistake I see a lot of folks make. They think, okay, I need to get rid of fear. I need to do something where I don't feel afraid. No. Everybody feels afraid. But it's the relationship to fear that you need to change. So I said, you know what? Instead of seeing fear as a reason not to do it, I will see it as a reason to do it. I will see it as a compass, almost, that is guiding me through my path. Oh, what's the choice that intimidates me the most? Okay, that one, let's go after that, because I realized it's the goals, the things that truly are important to us that bring us the most fear. A great example of that is someone that you find attractive, right? Imagine you go into a bar or you're at a party and, you know, there's several people that you could talk to, you know, some very good looking people, some that are decent, and then there's this one person that just takes your breath away. Someone that is so intimidatingly beautiful or handsome where you're like, oh my God, like, wow, right? Those are not the people we feel the most comfortable talking to. Those are not the people that we can just easily roll up to and feel confident about. No, not at all. It's those intimidating people that we find the most attractive. When I met my girlfriend for the first time, my girlfriend of 8 years now, I was horribly intimidated. I actually thought, I met her on Tinder, funny side story. I actually thought her profile is a catfish profile. She was just too pretty. I'm like, no way a profile like this really exists. It must be catfishing. It must be asking me for Bitcoin or something like that. And I'm sure you can resonate with that. It's usually the people that make your heart pound, that make you scared, that make your palms sweat, that are the people that you really want. And it's exactly the same in life as well. So you need to change your relationship to fear. How do you change your relationship to fear? That's the next question. You progressively desensitize yourself to that. There's a area in your brain called the prefrontal cortex. It's right here, right above the brows, right behind your forehead, so to speak. And that area is responsible for making you do things that you're either intimidated by or afraid of or that are just hard for you. Great example is, imagine you step into a shower, you turn it on cold, and you have the cold stream right in front of you, and you're naked, and everything in your body says, don't do it. Well, if you do it, and you step under that cold shower, and you're shivering, and you're like just shaking, that's your prefrontal cortex who allowed you to do that uncomfortable action. And you can train that. I trained that in my early 20s, right, by actually taking cold showers every day. I put a little bit of a posted on my shower that says, I can't remember, like March 12th or whatever the date was, take cold showers every day. So I didn't want to interrupt that streak, right? So it would be May, June, July, and I'm like, ever since March, I've only taken cold showers. Now, you don't have to do it as extreme, but it was a great example of that. Talk to a stranger every single day. Do one thing that makes you uncomfortable every single day. Those are the things that train your prefrontal cortex. And therefore, you can change your relationship to fear, which therefore leads you to pursue higher goals, goals that are so amazing, so beautiful that they intimidate you, but you can do it anyways. That's the first lesson. The second lesson that took me around 20 years, I'm 34 now, by the way, soon to be 35. The second lesson that took me so long to really realize that is there's always someone better than you. And that's totally fine. You might know the lesson already. There's always someone better than you, of course, but add to that, and that's totally fine. I'm an incredibly competitive person. So I would often get intimidated by other people, or I'd almost even give up because so-and-so is doing so much better than me already. You know, what's the point of me taking action anyways? And I would have all this negative self-talk about me and about them. I would hate someone else just because they were doing better than me. And social media amplify that way more. I mean, you probably know this. You go to Instagram and you're like, I am a guitarist. I love playing guitar. I'm getting better. You feel quite good about yourself. And then you go on Instagram and you see some Asian 9-year-old just playing way better than you. And you're like, what's the point? This person's much better than me anyways. So social media amplifies that. Maybe you see someone that's more beautiful than you, skinnier than you, has bigger boobs than you, whatever the hell it is. And it makes us feel really bad about that. But what I've learned is actually much more productive of a way of looking at things is, I would turn that envy into motivation. I would say, well, if their beautiful life is possible, if their skill set is higher than mine, if they're better in shape than me, then I can do that too, because, write that down, nobody's cut from a different cloth. Nobody's special. We're all made literally of the same physical things, like the same type of skin, same bones, same flesh. We're just human fucking beings. We all start from a blank slate. Sure, some people are a trust fund kid. They got more access to opportunities. Who fucking cares? You're given those cards. Go fucking play them. Good friend of mine, Yo Viral, he was actually at my podcast. He's a pro poker player. He can win even if he has shitty cards just because he plays well. So use what's given to you and turn that envy that you have to others, or even that hatred, into motivation and say, well, if they can do it, I can do it, because nobody's cut from a different cloth. In fact, go even further and befriend these people. Shoot them a DM, offer them value. If they live somewhere where you live, go find a way to hang out with them. If they go to specific parties, make sure you get into those parties as well. If you got a podcast, go invite them to be on your podcast. You know how many folks I've had on the Max Tornow podcast where I'm literally just envious because their life is so epic, and I'm like, I kind of want to talk to that guy or that girl because I can learn from them. And after the 2-3 hour podcast episode, we go have a drink, we go out for steak, we get to know each other, and we become acquaintances or maybe even friends. That's how I've turned most of the people that I envied into close friends that I can learn from. And then I can give back to. Hey, thanks for doing so fucking well in your life. Did I get inspired by that? Can I promote your stuff? Can I have you on my podcast? Can I connect you with someone that can help you with your business or your journey? That's by far the best way to deal with people that are doing better than you. Befriend them. It took me a very long time to get over that ego barrier of mine. Now, fuck these people, they're doing better than me, they're not even that good. Fucking befriend them. Took me a long time to figure that out, but it's by far the best way to deal with that. Now, I have 2 more things I want to talk to you about. And that is, number 1, the most important decision in your life. What I'm about to tell you here is the literal differentiating factor between you being miserable in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and so on, and you thriving in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and so on. In fact, there's a lot of friends of mine that are in their 50s right now. Some of them have completely given up on life. They have a fat gut, they have no more energy, their hair is falling out, they're fucking broke, they're in an unhappy relationship with a toxic person, their kids don't respect them, and you can literally see in their eyes that they've given up on life. They got this kind of like, durr look on their eyes, just like, yeah, whatever. They're passive, they're like a leaf in the wind. All because they messed up that most important decision in their life. Conversely, I have friends of mine that are in their 50s. They're running fucking marathons. I got one friend of mine, he's participated, I think, 16 Ironman. I got people in their 50s that have multiple 8-figure companies, that have beautiful relationships with amazing people. They have friends and family they have kids that look up to them. They have companies that are thriving. In fact, every time I ask them, when were you at your peak? And you're in your 50s now, was it you were in your 35 or 40? They literally say, motherfucker, I'm in my peak right now. What are you saying? I love my life. And that's the kind of people who made that most important decision in their life, and they did it right. The most important decision in your life is, who's your partner? I'm talking about your life partner, but also partners in your business. Who are you choosing as a mate? And I'm a little biased there in my journey because I was a dating coach for almost 10 years. In fact, I was the biggest, best paid dating coach in the world with the biggest brand, the fastest growing brand. That was my very first multiple 7-figure business. What we always taught our clients was you gotta get into abundance first before you choose a partner. Most people out there, maybe think about your parents, maybe think about your uncle, your friends, people you knew from high school. How many people did they have in their pool of potential partners before they picked one? Maybe they knew 3-4 partners. You know, maybe they knew someone from their friend circle. They had 3 to 4 potential partners and then they picked one. What's the likelihood in terms of probability that that partner is actually a really, really good choice for you? If your pool of choice is 3 to 4 people, the likelihood is actually very, very low, simply mathematically speaking. Now let's assume, for example, you live a little bit of a bachelor life, and I'm not saying you gotta sleep with everyone or anything like that. I'm just saying, let's say you're putting yourself out there, you're going on a little bachelor lifestyle, and you meet people. You go on a lot of dates. And instead of jumping on the first opportunity of someone that likes you back and making them your girlfriend or boyfriend, you wait a little bit. You figure out what it is that you actually want out of a relationship. You try out different things until you really understand what floats your boat, sexually, but also in life in general. Now, the pool of your potential partner might be 200, 300, 400. Now you've 10x your chances that that person is actually a good choice for you. In fact, if you do this for 1 or 2 years, you're gonna meet thousands of people. And out of that person, choose your ideal partner. I've been on many, many dates as a dating coach. Obviously, it was kind of like my job. I've met many, many different women. I've met women that I thought I liked. I've met women that had character traits that I thought were something that I wanted. I'll give you an example. I've met women where I thought, okay, I need someone that is as ambitious as I am. I'm incredibly ambitious. I'm always active. I always want to build something. So naturally, I want someone that does that too. In fact, I've been with women like this, and it didn't work. I didn't know it wasn't going to work. I assumed that is what is going to make it work, but it wasn't. So it was the very experience, the fact that I didn't just wife up the first woman that I thought was going to work with me. It was the experience that I got, that I tried out different things that made me understand I actually need someone that's the opposite. So my girlfriend of 8 years now, the girlfriend that I literally want to spend the rest of my life with, and maybe I will, maybe I won't. You never know what the future brings, but at least by the time of the recording, I'm fairly certain. She's the complete polar opposite. She's someone that goes rather with the flow. Now, she works extremely hard herself, but she's not that crazy obsessive about things like I am. And that balances me out, and that creates that beautiful harmony. And I may say I'm probably having a similar effect on her. So that is the most important decision in your life. It took me a long time to figure this out. It took me to become a dating coach for 10 years to really figure it out. Now you got that lesson. And now, most importantly, I waited for the most important lesson towards the end. The second most important decision of your life is how you earn a living. I started this video by giving you an example of my father coming home every day just beat up by work. Made me realize pretty early on that it's not necessarily how much you make, it's about how you make it. I know a lot of folks that work in corporate jobs, finance, make multiple 7 figures a year, they're fucking miserable. Their working hours are like 70, 80, 90 hours a week. They're miserable. And when they do have the 2, 3, 4 weeks off per year, they gotta medicate. They're going on benders, they're drinking, they're taking drugs, because that lifestyle that they're having is not sustainable. So, also there, a lot of times we're just drawn towards something that is safe, something that is good enough, because the real dream that we want, which is usually, making a lot of money, not having to worry about money, being free, having a lot of spare time that we can spend on traveling the world, spending time with our loved ones. That's the real dream. But again, that is really fucking intimidating. It's hard to do that because I got to build a business, and then the business is risky. And then I might not get paid. But with the salary, when I get this job, I get paid every month no matter what. Even if I kind of suck at it, I'll get paid, right? But when a business, sometimes I get paid, sometimes not. I can't deal with this. This uncertainty is fucking with me. Let me go with something more simpler. But that in and of itself is a trap. It's a trap. Like that freaking Star Wars guy. It's a trap. You got to realize that even there, you have to work on your relationship with fear. You have to seek the unknown. You have to seek the thing that intimidates you the most. That's right with the dating coaching company. It was intimidating as hell. And when I made my first 10K a month, I thought I was good. But then I had this other goal that intimidated me. Oh, let's scale this thing to over $1 million. Let's keep going. Let's hire people. Let's go to 3 to 5 million a year. Until I broke record after record because I always went into the direction that was most intimidating me. And now I live a life with my second company. I've built a second multiple seven-figure company, which is the stuff you're watching right now, which is business consulting. I help people get started with their own business. I help people scale their existing business. We've worked with a lot of great clients that come to us with existing businesses. We help them scale to $250,000, $300,000 a month and beyond. We have beginners that come to us that say, I have no experience. How can I use AI to make money? All that jazz. I mean, you see it here on this channel. And even with this, I'm like, I'm literally making multiple seven figures a year. I've made over 10 million cash collected. That's this little award thing here in the back, just over the last couple of years. And we're literally right now, this year, we're actually scaling to $1 million a month, which we should reach in the next couple of weeks, which is absolutely fantastic. But even there, I'm doing it while I'm traveling the world. Literally, I'm traveling to LA, I'm traveling to Asia, Tokyo, wherever the hell I want. I'm doing all this while spending time with my girlfriend. My sister just got a kid, my nephew. I can go visit the little motherfucker as much as I want. And I do, and I go snowboarding. I do whatever I want. I'm not saying this because I want to brag. I mean, maybe a little bit, but I'm saying this because I understood that next to my life partner, with whom I'm quote unquote going to be stuck for the rest of my life, the decision of what I want to do for the rest of my life is also very important. It better be something that makes me a lot of money. It better be something where I inspire a lot of people. It better be something where I can express myself freely. It better be something where I'm location and time independent, because I want to have that freedom. Freedom is the most important good of my life. You might have noticed a bunch of my tattoos. This here was my first tattoo. Eleftheria, it's Attic Ancient Greek for freedom. It was my first tattoo because freedom is the most important thing in the world for me. So I made that decision, and I made the right decision, fortunately, because I had the right kind of guidance, and I realized that the fear, the intimidation is the very thing I need to go towards. And I still do this to this day. I do things that intimidate me because I know they bring me to my goal. If I want to make more money, I spend more money because I know that's what makes me intimidated. That's the beauty about life. Life is there to be figured out by you, and it's giving you little signs. Those signs are your heart pumping faster, you starting to sweat, you getting scared, you trying to procrastinate something. That is life, the universe, karma, God telling you, you need to pursue this. This is why you're here on this earth. I didn't put you on this earth to bitch around and choose something that is just barely good enough. I didn't put you on this earth to do something that is not fulfilling your potential. The universe, God, whatever, didn't put you on this earth to be a bitch to your own fears. All right? So imagine God or the universe or whatever telling you, hey, I didn't put you on this earth to bitch out on your goals. I put you on this earth to go big. Go big or die trying. I certainly did, and it made me very, very happy that I did. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. Talk soon.